Hello YouTube. Today I got a very cool knife to show you today. This is the Cold Steel Recon1 Tano. My second knife I ever got from Cold Steel was the original, excuse me, wanted to wait for that truck to get by, was the original Recon1 Tano with a 4-inch blade. And for the longest time that was my self-defense knife of choice. My boss paid me to kill a rat with it once. I think that was more for his own entertainment, but hey, money's money. I've talked about that in my old Recon1 video. But anyways, that had the Ultra Lock, and it was a 4-inch blade. Nothing against 4-inch blades. That's what I carried for self-defense for the longest time, but in Texas, I can legally carry a 5.5-inch blade. So, naturally, I want to carry the biggest knife I can legally carry for a self-defense knife. Now, I will tell you this, that a 4-inch blade is about my maximum for an EDC knife. A 5-inch, a 5.5-inch blade, to me, is a little bit too unwieldy to handle EDC tasks. Can it do it? Yes, it's good for cutting rope. You can sharpen a pencil with it. It's okay for that. It'll do the job just fine for that. But as far as opening up letters, breaking down boxes, you know, that kind of stuff, opening packages, it's just a little bit too big in my opinion to do it and to feel comfortable doing it. But ever since I've had the ability, I've always carried a 5.5-inch blade for self-defense in general, unless I'm testing another knife. And if I travel out of state and I can't legally carry a 5.5-inch blade, I'll carry that legal size of that state. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open this up for you so you can take a look at it. It's a beast. It'll get everything done that you need to get done in a self-defense situation. And since I have the information in front of me, let's go over the specifications. The blade length, like I said, is 5.5 inches. The blade thickness is 4 millimeters. Its overall length is 12 and 1/4 inches, and it weighs 8 ounces. Now, some people, that might be a little bit big, but I think that's very lightweight for the size of knife that you're getting. And since I have the information in front of me, the MSRP for this knife is $179.99. So, some people, that might be out of reach. Some people can't see themselves spending over $100 for a knife. But I can tell you that this is worth it. If you can comfortably carry it, and you can afford it, I would recommend getting it. And they also have a clip point version, and this is why I buy the Tano. It's why I originally bought the Tano for the Recon1, and it's the reason why I bought the Tano now. Is because I can get that much of the blade into my target and have a wider wound channel. As with a clip, if I get that much blade in there, I'm going to have a smaller wound channel. That was my original thinking when I bought my first Recon1, and it was my thinking when I got this knife. Hopefully that will never happen. I do not want to be in that situation. But as you know, with broadheads when you're deer hunting, and with bullets, a larger wound channel is more effective at dropping game. Okay, it's no different for people. But you're generally not going to be just stabbing wildly at your target, so I need a good cutting blade. Good thing with this is if you take this portion off right here, it's basically a wound cliff with a little bit extra. So it's going to cut with more pressure on the blade for a longer length of the blade because it's not upswept. Upswept blades and straight blades both have their advantages and disadvantages. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but this is a good slashing blade. I have a video where I cut meat with both the Cold Steel Espada and this Recon1, and they're both devastating. You do not want to be in the way of either knife. But so I'm very confident with both blades. This knife, it has Peel Ply G10, and it's pretty aggressive, very comfortable in the hand. It's not so aggressive that it's going to tear up your hand in hard use, but your hand's not slipping. Plus, it's so ergonomic with this. You have this choke point that your hand's not going to slip up the blade either as well. And if you want to, you can choke down, and I'll explain that why you'll want to do that later. This locking mechanism is the Triad lock, and the Triad lock, as far as I'm concerned, the strongest folding knife lock on the market. I think it exceeds Balisong locks, although the Balisong locks are equally strong in the sense that they won't fold on you. The knife is going to break before the knife folds on you, and but this locking mechanism is known to hold 600 pounds. That is way more than you're ever going to generate in a self-defense situation. But you know what that is? That's insurance. That's insurance, and that's a feeling of safety, knowing that this lock isn't going to fail on you when the lock needs. I'm getting tongue-tied. When that lock means the most to you. So I will demonstrate this. You can kind of hear that the stop pin is a little bit loose, but this lock is rock solid. Nothing, no play whatsoever. So I'm still very confident in this locking mechanism. It's just the stop pin is a little bit loose, and I've encountered that on some other cold steel knives before. The stop pin isn't going to pop out. So it's not really that big of a worry to me. Now, this is one constructive criticism I'd like to give to Cold Steel. I like Cold Steel as a company. They do just about everything right. They Loctite the screws. Well, I got two constructive criticisms. But they Loctite the screws. The blades come razor sharp. And they're very strong, and quality control generally is pretty good with their knives. And if there's something wrong, they'll generally work with you to make it right, unless you're just being stupid. But that being said, there are a couple of criticisms. One is the pocket clip. Nothing wrong with the pocket clip, nothing wrong with the G10 handle, but it comes extremely tight, where you can't get it in and out of your pocket, because there's no tolerances between the pocket clip and the handle scale. You're literally having to use two hands to push the pocket clip into your pocket, and then when you come to draw it out, if you need to draw it out in a hurry, it is too difficult to get out of your pocket. So they need to loosen this up a little bit. Now, there's no need to do the nothing fancy JB Weld modification on any of your knives. He likes to do that. Nothing against him. If that's what he enjoys doing, if that's how he likes to spend his free time, that's good. But I'm just saying it's not needed. All you need is a little pry ball or someone with very strong hands, and you just bend it up a little bit. And it does not compromise the strength of the pocket clip. Well, I guess it does in a sense, in the fact that you're loosening it, but you just need to bend it just a little bit, You get like maybe a screwdriver, put it under there, bend it until it feels comfortable to you. And depending on how loose or how tight you want it, you can fix it up in that configuration. And also, you know, I'm just going to leave it at that. That's what, ever since the Cold Steel Espada that I got for Christmas a few years back, and every Cold Steel knife I got since then, I've had to bend the pocket clip so that it'll fit my pocket. And that's just something that Cold Steel needs to work on, I feel, to get a better product out to the public. That way they don't have to do that themselves. But like I said, there's no need to use JB Weld or anything like that. You can simply just bend the pocket clip slightly, just slightly, and it works just fine. Now, this is more of a cosmetic criticism, but Cold Steel, generally, they have black G10 on everything. Black G10, black FRN, is black, black, black. And I have nothing against black. Black is beautiful. But to me, black is being overdone. That I think Cold Steel needs to branch out and play with some different colored G10. And let's just say, for example, coyote brown, khaki, OD green. You can still stick to tactical colors, but just do something else besides black. I think it'll make it a more attractive knife. I think the sales would be better. And who knows, you might get a wild hair and just decide to make a safety orange knife or a blue knife, a blue G10 knife. But I would really like to see something other than black. And also, just a little bit of commentary on the coating. If you do something with this knife that you're not supposed to do, like batoning with this knife, you want to scratch the Teflon coating. Folding knives are not for batoning, in my opinion. I don't know, I'm just weird like that. Unless you have no other choice, but usually you have a choice. I found using this knife as it's intended as a self-defense knife, and let me specify, I was not in a self-defense situation. I just created the circumstances. I wrapped meat around bamboo and I cut and stabbed at it. I found that the coating withheld just fine, stabbing through meat, chopping into bamboo, some very hard bamboo, and all it needed was to be sharpened, and the coating works just fine. Now, I will say this: if you ever find yourself in a situation with a can of food without a can opener, this will get the job done, but you will still scratch the coating. So you have to live with that. Personally, if I can go without scratching the coating, I like my knives to generally look neat. But I'm not like disappointed when I scratch a blade, but I just prefer them to look good. And if I have to get a permanent marker to make it blend in a little bit, I'll do that. But yeah, just keep that in mind. This Teflon coating can come off with abuse. Another thing I don't like about this knife, well, I guess you can do it. It's just not as easy with the Cold Steel larger spotter. It's a little bit more difficult to close this knife with one hand. With the Cold Steel spotter, I press the lock, I flip it down on my finger, and then close the knife. And you have to, on this one, you have to have your finger way up here, or else you're going to cut yourself. I know that's not the safest practice, but one thing that's very important to me when it comes to EDC knives, and I still feel the need to have this feature on self-defense knife, although it's not as important, is I like the smooth transition from out of the pocket, opening it, cutting with it, closing it with it, and putting it back in the pocket. The smoother that transition is, the happier I am. Let's see. I think that's about it. I covered just about everything. You know, the pocket clip, the color change. Yeah, Cold Steel, if you're listening, I'd really like to see different colors. But also, I forgot what I was going to say. I almost forgot. This is a 5.5-inch blade, legal to carry without any excuse in Texas. Now, I mentioned the fact that you can choke down depending on what you have going on that day. If you're fencing or dueling someone with a knife, hopefully you're not, but if that ever happens, what can this 5.5-inch blade give you over a illegal combat knife? Well, let's look at that. I got a couple of combat knives that hopefully I'll never have to use, but they're in my collection. This is the SOG Bowie 2.0, and as you can see, if you line up the blades, the SOG is longer, and it's illegal for me to carry. But the recon1 has more real estate on the handle, so if I choke down here and line those up, I actually get more reach with the Cold Steel recon1 than I do with the SOG buoy, because I'm choking down right here, and you have a little bit more reach. But the SOG buoy, it's maybe a little bit over 6 inches, so it's not a whole lot bigger than the Cold Steel recon1, but you still get more reach with it. Oops, sorry about that. Let's look at a more substantial combat knife. Now, this knife might be recognizable to some. Some people might confuse it with the other knife. I'll explain it to you later. This is a 7-inch blade blackjack number 7. This is the poor man's Randall knife. If you want a Randall combat knife but you can't afford it, this is the knife you get. It's the same shape as the Randall. It's the same feel as the Randall number. Well, I think it's the number 1, but it's 7-inch. It's the same shape, feel. The only difference is the blade steel and the grind. This is a full-size fighting knife. 7-inch blade. I cannot legally carry it unless I'm going hunting. So if I'm going hunting, camping, I can carry a bigger knife. But as far as everyday carry, I can't legally carry this. And people will look at me weird if I did. Although I probably still would carry it if it was legal. But watch this. I choke down here. Line up the grabbing points. You still get just as much or even more reach with the 5-inch recon1 than you do with the blackjack or Randall knife in a standard grip. I mean, you guess you could choke down right here, but it's not nearly as comfortable because it swells up as it is on this. So I just wanted to point that out to you. And most of the time, I feel more comfortable grabbing the knife right under the well, right here, you know, choked up, because I just feel more comfortable with it. But if I do need to, there's certain knives that I do feel comfortable grabbing down here, and you get a lot more reach, you get a lot more speed, and those are two very good advantages to have in a knife duel, as I sometimes call it, because most of your self-defense situations aren't going to be you squaring up with someone else with a knife. You know, it doesn't happen that often. Not to say it doesn't happen, but it just doesn't happen that often. And that's it. That's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope y'all have a great day. I'm a Satsu 5, and I'm out.